Okay, so I want to tell my story about living in a house like this. In one of my relationships with who I didn't know at the time was a hoarder. And another point, this is why I think that you should live with a person before you get married because of reasons like this. Because it's easy to keep your house looking right every time someone comes over, but you got to see how somebody's really living on a day-to-day basis. But anyways, let's get into the story. Now, when I look back at it, there was red flags, but I didn't realize it at the time because it would be small things. I remember something very specific. I had bought her a vape like when we first met, and she kept the box that it was in. You know what I'm saying? Like garbage, a little cardboard box. She kept the box for like the whole relationship. And it was a bunch of other instances like that, like keeping garbage because she tied some type of sentimental value to it. And at first I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever, that's cute, I guess, but it only continued to get worse over time. Now, on top of the hoarding problem, it was also a spending problem. So on top of just keeping small little garbage or objects that have no use, she's also buying big amounts of things that aren't going to be used, like clothes. There was bags of clothes, so much clothes in the closet, and I know you weren't going to be able to get to wear all of them, but just because you had the money to get them, or she worked at a retail store, so when it was clothes that were like going out of season, they would just give them to the workers. At least that's what she said. She also had a little stealing problem, but we'll get into that in another day. So she's just bringing home boatloads of clothes and other things that are not going to be of use, and we lived in a small apartment, so it was like, it was just taking up space, you know what I mean? And then it's getting to a point where it's like, whoa, okay, like we don't have a lot of room. We need to get rid of some stuff. We need to throw some stuff out. But she doesn't want to let me throw it out because, again, like I said, she had tied so much sentimental value to it, especially with the inanimate objects, like the objects that had no use at all. Like I could understand things that like you could actually use, like electronics or plugins or pencils. It was so much stuff that was just there and just in the way and really wasn't being used. But the clothes were taking up the most room because now not only are we having a closet full, we're having big garbage bags full of clothes throughout the house. And at the same time, I'm trying to be respectful and just not be like, nah, we're throwing this out because, you know what I'm saying, that's her stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just throw stuff out that you deem as important. But I'm finding like pencil cases filled with like small notes that she read, or like filled with, like I said, she had kept a box of a vape, like filled with stuff like that, and then the box, inside the box, has some stuff in it. Now eventually I'm kind of like, enough is enough, like we got to get rid of some of this